Mysterious lights over Stockton, California. Have aliens just appeared over Stockton, California? This past Friday, a mysterious lighted shape appeared in the sky over Stockton in Northern California. Many pictures were taken of the light, which took the media by storm, appearing all over Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. The mysterious light appears to change colors depending upon the angle the picture was taken at. Right now, the National Ocean and Atmospheric Administration is trying to put the issue to rest by saying the light must be what is known as a hole punch cloud, which is basically a phenomenon that occurs when ice crystals get too heavy and fall through a cloud, sometimes refracting light. Time to close the book? The thing is, hole punch clouds do not usually change colors depending upon the angle they are looked at, nor do they refract light in such a way that causes them to change color depending upon which angle the picture was taken at. A few theories exist outside of the hole punch cloud one. Weather manipulation, an extraterrestrial craft, Russia, or something called a sundog also exist.
Dozens of people have been killed in Eastern Europe's worst flooding in more than a century as rising waters engulf more towns across Bosnia and Serbia.
There was no protection for some villages hit by waves of water up to 4 metres high that swept away homes like a tsunami.
3 months' worth of rain have inundated Serbia and Bosnia in just 3 days. It's the worst flooding since records began 120 years ago. Helicopters have rescued scores from rooftops and balconies. Amateur video captured a man's narrow escape as a house literally broke in half and collapsed. The sound of sobbing only begins to chronicle the loss. Rain-swollen rivers have caused more than 200 landslides. Neighborhoods and even whole towns have disappeared before residents' eyes.
This was not snow, it was hail, and in some cases up to 20 centimeters of hail that fell across some of these areas in Sao Paulo. Pretty significant stuff. A piece of hail will get bigger and bigger, and this is huge. Look at that, they had to use bulldozers to move it out. The people still had some of this icy stuff on their lawns the next day.
Take a look at this unbelievable scene, a massive sinkhole in Austin Peay's campus. So far it has swallowed part of the field and track of Governor's Stadium there.
From Sky 5 HD, you can see just how big the sinkhole is, swallowing a part of the northern end zone and track inside Governor's Stadium. And it all started when it first opened up a few weeks ago.
Fairly small sinkhole, about the size of a desk.
But when crews began the process to stop the hole from growing, it wouldn't. Right now, it could be 30 by 50 feet wide and 40 feet deep.
An unusual phenomenon is happening right now in Marina del Rey. Thousands of dead anchovies and other sea life are floating in the water. The Department of Fish and Wildlife has been called out to investigate.
It's almost intolerable, the smell from thousands of rotting anchovies fouling the waters of Basin A and Marina del Rey.
We had folks here earlier in the morning investigating what may have caused this die-off. I'm told that may be about 70,000 fish. There are many more on the bottom that will likely float to the surface of the water over the next few days. Of course, a lot of residents concerned about the die-off in their backyard. It does not smell good, I can tell you that, and the cleanup likely will last for several more days.
Since then, neighbors say an unusual number of other marine animals have started dying.
See them helpless and you want to go help, and they're fighting to kind of walk and hobble and fall over. It's heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking to Shayu Val, who lives right by the water, and Kerma Boyam Sarmiento, who does too. And both think the anchovy die-off has something to do with these other animals dying.
I kind of wonder if there's something in the water that's killing these animals.
Whatever is happening is unsettling.
It's like a horror show, really.
Today we were reminded that some of the most destructive forces in nature can be stunningly beautiful. Storm chasers captured a supercell thunderstorm yesterday in Wyoming. Their time-lapse video shows the towering storm taking shape.
This is not something from a Hollywood movie, but it looks otherworldly. Check this video out from eastern Wyoming yesterday. This is what storm chasers call a mother ship, a low precipitation supercell. The rotation that you see there caused by strong winds aloft, and it's not hard to imagine how that could drop a tornado down to the ground. That is a warned supercell thunderstorm causing large hail and damaging wind.
California ravaged by fire and drought, and tonight in some communities, people asked to rethink the way they are using water in their daily lives.
After days of battling a raging inferno, firefighters finally containing nearly all the wildfires that last week raged across California. 200 fires in 1 week. In San Diego alone, 27,000 acres burned, 44 homes destroyed. But fire season is just getting started.
We're in a very serious fire season, more serious than we've seen before.
Fueling those flames, California's 2.5-year-long drought.
Rivers and lakes are at record lows. This creek here, bone dry, and red flag warnings are up in 7 other western states.
Parts of the Northeast are cleaning up this morning after strong storms and even a rare tornado. Twister touched down in central Delaware on Thursday. Another possible tornado hit near Albany, New York. Those storms caused heavy damage and some flooding, and that was only part of the trouble along the East Coast.
Tornado in New York, just northwest of Albany only hours ago.
We're getting reports of numerous homes destroyed.
Several damaged homes, at least one destroyed, power lines down, and trees snapped.
We've never had a storm like that right in this area.
Severe storms rocketing across the Northeast, the streets of Reading, Pennsylvania filling with hail. Golf ball size hail from North Wilmington, Delaware to Pennsylvania.
All hail just broke loose.
Smashing through the skylight at the Berkshire Mall. The storms shutting down train service between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. The Bay Bridge in Maryland temporarily shut down.
Here it comes, bro!
And in Denver, a third day of tornado warnings. Hail peppering the streets.
Look at this right here. It's a massive fog bank. It almost looks like a huge wave or something because it's just sitting right there on the water. Oh my gosh. That video really tells a story, doesn't it? But it's, again, fog. This was in Lake Michigan. A man was out there fishing when he saw it, apparently getting ready to move right toward him as well. That's incredible video.
Heavy rain and thunderstorms soaked parts of the nation's midsection and the Northeast, delaying the start of the holiday getaway for thousands of people. Here in New York, rain affected not only road travel, but nearly all the flights at 3 major airports.
This line of storms knocked down trees in Richmond, Virginia. Heavy rain flooded part of Interstate 95 in eastern Pennsylvania. Traffic came to a stop because of a hailstorm. The hail knocked out a skylight at a mall. One airliner flew through the storm and landed in Philadelphia.
And take a look at this. Lightning struck the top of the New World Trade Center last night. No damage reported, but it was quite a sight.
Now, this is what you call completely breathtaking. A wall of dust engulfing downtown Reno in Nevada. You can see Reno disappear into the dark as a wall of dust blows into the city. Meteorologists say this is the first dust storm in the area in more than 6 years.
Out west, a mountain of dust rolling across the New Mexico highway, visibility falling to near zero, and 7 vehicles in a chain reaction crashed.
A shocking scene as passengers on a Greyhound bus captured the burning wreckage from an 8-vehicle collision on I-10 near Lordsburg yesterday. The crash, caused by a dust storm, left a horrific scene of twisted, blackened metal and 7 badly burned bodies.
I don't recall an accident of this magnitude.
A major downpour like this is said to occur once every 200 years. Friday's downpour caused secondary disasters everywhere, with water levels reaching hazardous levels.
The rainfall, which has continued now for a week, has caused landslides, building collapses and floods across the region.
Since Wednesday, rainstorms in Guangdong have affected 800,000 people.
A huge earthquake has shaken Greece and parts of Turkey.
It struck off the coast of Greece in the Aegean Sea at around midday local time, that's 11 o'clock Central European time. The quake was felt in Athens and Istanbul and shook the entire Thrace and Aegean regions. The US Geological Survey put it at 7.2 on the Richter scale.
Unbelievably big. That's how emergency crews describe a massive mudslide on the western slopes of Colorado. 4 miles long, 2 miles wide, and about 250 feet deep. This entire area remains very unstable. Right now, 3 people are missing. One witness said the mudslide sounded like a freight train.
Raging wildfire in Arizona is threatening a popular tourist destination, putting thousands on alert for possible evacuations, with strong winds stoking the flames and more firefighters on the way.
This fire has expanded to nearly 7 miles, exploding tenfold in 24 hours deep inside these canyons. Just listen to the crackle in this time-lapse video on YouTube.
A much larger fire is burning in Alaska south of Anchorage. 243 square miles have gone up in the Kenai Peninsula. Evacuations were ordered for people in 1,000 homes and businesses.
Back here at home, a twister touched down in North Dakota, injuring some 9 workers at an oil patch near Waterford City.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. What was that? I know I am. Look at this dirt. I'm right out the window.
A large sinkhole has opened up beneath a $1 million mansion on the New South Wales Central Coast. Neighbours discovered the ground had collapsed beneath the left corner of the Swansea house last night, swallowing the basement and the patio. A disused mine shaft has collapsed beneath the property.
Scientists are having a rough time figuring out this one. Dozens of witnesses reported seeing the strange object in the sky. Many photos were taken and many reports were submitted. The object was seen from northern to southern California, to Nevada, to as far as even Oregon. Residents of Concord, California, as quoted by the Claycord News and Talk website, were saying things such as, quote, varying brightness, and then it fizzled out. Was it a missile? And, quote, some type of object in the air with a type of floodlight on, and white fog/smoke was billowing out of it as if something was being sprayed into the air, unquote. And, quote, there was something coming out of it. It wasn't just the light. I could see it spraying something, unquote. The Concord-based website also stated there were about 30 other reports that were similar to these. One report from msmeteors.com, a website that lets people submit sightings of meteors and other airborne phenomenon, had an account that said they saw a, quote, shiny object, unquote, which, quote, looked like a plane or shuttle, unquote. Another report from the same website stated that they noticed the object seemed to, quote, change trajectory mid-flight too, unquote. Despite all these reports, many people believe that it was just a meteorite. But was it? Ben Kwok, a worker at the Morrison Planetarium, was asked by KTIV TV what he thought it was. It's possible that it could be a meteorite, but he followed up with, quote, "It's very unusual that this one appears to have a very broad tail following behind it," unquote. So what else could it be? In another interview done by KPIX TV with Gerald McKeegan, whom works at the Cheboge Space and Science Center, added the insight that if something was seen by this many people across such a wide area, then, quote, "it had to be way up there, many miles high," unquote. If it's that high in the air, and appears as large as it is from an observer on the ground, then it must be absolutely humongous, whatever it is. McKeegan added, "It could just be a piece of space junk that fell out of the air, or we're thinking it's some type of missile test launch," unquote. The Space Center added that the tail looks like a vapor plume. But all scientists are doing now is speculating. They don't really know. Further research was needed. Charlie Coburn from the Community Observatory in Placerville was asked his opinion. His response was just that he couldn't really figure it out either. However, he revealed a picture of what a rocket looks like in the air, which he had on his phone to the journalist interviewing him. They do appear to look similar, but who would have shot off a rocket without the public knowing about it? According to KPIX TV once again, scientists really wanted to know, so they asked Vandenberg Air Force Base if there had been any military missiles launched recently. And of course, they said there hadn't been, but also added that if any missiles were to have been launched, they would have come from the ocean, specifically the Navy. The case ended there. That is, until News 2 recently posted this quick update that they somehow got information on, saying that the Navy had just confirmed that they had indeed launched 3 Trident II missiles right before the time of these sightings. A bit almost strangely brief solution to the mystery? Let's think about this for a second. Why is the Navy shooting missiles from the sea into, 1, its own country, and 2, as far inwards as Nevada? That's a pretty long ways for a missile to go. I suppose parts of Nevada could be specifically designated as rocket targets for military tests, but it's still a bit sketchy that they'd actually shoot not 1 but 3 missiles that flew over quite a few populated areas. In fact, it seems just a little bit reckless on their part. Was the reason for them shooting off the rockets just to do a routine missile launch test? I would think that if tests like these are routine, then sightings of objects like this in the sky would also be more common. Perhaps they're preparing for something. Who knows? Although, as you can see, most of the comments on this article don't seem to believe it's telling the truth. In particular, one commenter named Niall Bradley doesn't believe that this incident was just the Navy shooting rockets from the sea, but instead has quite a few other theories about what may have really been going on. According to him, quote, the experts you all brought in are idiots. I've been monitoring these things for years. While it can be very hard to tell missiles from comets/meteors, the telltale sign is some hurriedly put together after the fact military cover story about, quote, surprise missile tests, unquote. He then goes on to provide 2 links that pretty thoroughly explain his theories, and he uses lots of citations for, which you can go check out. Perhaps what was witnessed were just missile tests, as allegedly claimed by the Navy. Perhaps they were something a bit more secret. Or perhaps the government didn't want to admit that they actually didn't know what flew over the skies of these 3 states. Whatever this thing was, remains a mystery.
All right, folks. What is being seen in the skies over Davison, Michigan? This was being reported over the last couple days. This was spotted again in the skies of Davison, Michigan, as some say these were fireballs. Some say chemtrails. So what do you think? Again, I want to thank Miss Lisa, is the YouTube subscriber that uploaded this that you're seeing here. But check it out. Again, this was being recorded, guys, in Davison, Michigan, live as it was happening. I believe this was either yesterday or the day before when this was captured. And so you see multiple, as you can see here, you see multiple trails, and they're coming just straight down. Very interesting. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. Is this space debris? Is this fragments of an asteroid, a meteor? So it looks like this is about a 4-minute video of this being captured. So if any of you guys are from the Michigan area, or maybe even possibly from this same city, give me some more information on this. Let us know what they've said this is. Maybe local news agencies, what they come up with and what they say. It'd be interesting to see. So we're just going to let this give you guys the whole video here. So again, guys, multiple trails, contrails or whatever these are that are coming out of the heavens. So we're just going to go ahead and stop that there, guys. Just wanted to give you, just to show you that. Thought that was kind of interesting. as yet, we still don't have an explanation for what this is. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of this. Again, anybody in the Michigan area, let me know what's going on with this. This is End Time Headlines, news and headlines from a prophetic perspective.
All that snow near Buffalo makes it hard to comprehend what the experts at the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration told us today. 2014, they say, is on track to be the warmest year on record.
Black road in Russia, suddenly alive with a mysterious flash of light that turns night there into day. Look at that. The dazzling sight caught on dashboard camera and seen for miles.
So far, scientists have no clear explanation as to what caused the flash.
We do begin with that deadly storm being called historic tonight, a state of emergency and now at least 7 dead. And this evening, the urgent call to action, the National Guard, those Humvees moving in, drivers trapped for hours, and a harrowing drive home for millions of Americans. Look at this tonight, a highway in Wisconsin, that car sliding into another vehicle parked on the shoulder of the road.
Much of the rest of the country is freezing cold. More than a dozen record lows tied or broken this morning, from New England to the Gulf Coast to Florida.
This solid wall of clouds just south of Buffalo shows the power of that lake effect storm. Some areas could see up to 100 inches of snow by this weekend.
The second round of a monster lake effect snowstorm intensified overnight, with winds blowing up to 25 miles per hour and thunder snow lighting up the downtown Buffalo sky. Snow began piling up early Tuesday, burying people in their homes and leaving drivers stranded along stretches of roadway. Close to 150 cars were stuck on a 4-mile stretch of the New York State Thruway.
Now a new threat, warmer temperatures melting that snow, the rivers rising, crews rushing to stack thousands of sandbags along their banks.
And today the state will release numbers on how much water individual Californians are using. For the first time, State Water Resources Control Board will go public with per capita data. It's being used to determine which communities are conserving the most and which need to do more.
Strong aftershocks could continue for the next week after an earthquake today in central Japan. Close to 500 were forced from their homes by the quake, which was centered near Nagano.
The magnitude 6.2 earthquake struck near Nagano City. The shock radiated through homes and businesses. People at the local TV station scrambled for cover. It knocked out power to 1,600 homes and triggered a landslide in Nagano, blocking and damaging roads.
A 6.3 magnitude earthquake has jolted southwest China's Sichuan province.
Japan and China are reeling from the impact of strong earthquakes with magnitudes of more than 6 that hit on Saturday.
The United Nations declares a state of emergency in Gaza City following 2 days of heavy rains and flooding in the war-ravaged Palestinian enclave. UNRWA said it is very concerned about such severe storms in the wake of unprecedented damage and destruction caused by the recent 7-week Israeli offensive.
Floods triggered by torrential rain have killed at least 32 people in southern Morocco. Most victims were swept away by swollen rivers, which also submerged cars, buildings and roads. The storms of recent days have been described as the worst in decades.
And some incredible video this morning of a massive tornado tearing across a field near Dundee, South Africa. Pictures and videos like this one are popping up all over social media sites. No injuries reported here, but several homes were apparently damaged in that storm. That is just huge. Force of nature there.
Emergency crews are slowly restoring power to thousands of homes across Sydney after fierce thunderstorms. 3 people were struck by lightning from a total of 3,000 recorded lightning strikes across the greater Sydney region. There's also heavy rain and wind gusts of up to 80 kilometres an hour, bringing down trees. The lightning sparked several bushfires.
A woman in Melbourne, Australia disappeared in her own backyard the other day. The 45-year-old woman was hanging laundry to dry When the ground just opened up, swallowed her up, she dropped about 10 feet into a sinkhole filled with waist-deep water.
Now, the cleanup is continuing this morning in Brisbane after the city was absolutely smashed by a massive hailstorm.
Power lines were brought down, roofs ripped from buildings and streets flooded. Eamon, good morning to you. This was the biggest storm the city's seen in, what was it, 30 years, they're saying?
30 years.
Wow.
Yes, they're saying 30 years. The Weather Bureau is also saying it's pretty much one of the worst storms you'll see anywhere in Australia. Really caught a lot of people off guard. A month's average rainfall dumped in about half an hour, so that caused flash flooding throughout the city. So the Insurance Council of Australia has labelled this a catastrophic event.
A fireball shooting across the sky. You can see it here, a man running out in his yard to capture it. And this dashcam video shows another angle. Comments came pouring in on social media claiming the fireball was fake, but that's not what a local astronomer says.
What I saw was perfectly consistent with a bright fireball from a large meteor in the atmosphere, much like the one that exploded over Russia a couple of years ago.
Take a look at this map from the American Meteor Society. You can see other reports from Oklahoma City to Muskogee and even Texas last week, making the fireball seem real.
The fact that it was seen over widespread area is also consistent with this being an actual fireball that went over Oklahoma.
Flash floods caused by torrential rain in the south of France have left at least 4 people dead and 2 missing. Fields were turned into lakes, streets into rivers, as the latest in a series of autumn storms caused havoc. Further west at Sérignan, a mini tornado on Friday morning left a scene of devastation.
Meteorological officials say smoke from Kyushu's Mount Aso in southwestern Japan rose about 1.5 kilometers into the air on Thursday. They say they believe a magma eruption is underway. It's the first time in 19 years that smoke from the volcano has gone this high. The volcanic ash is affecting airline travel as well.
A volcano has erupted on the Cape Verde Islands, forcing hundreds of residents to flee their homes and the local airport to close. It's the first time the volcano on the island of Fogo has erupted since 1995. The archipelago lies around 600 kilometers off the west coast of Africa.
A large boom heard in Winnebago County last night as people talking. Terry Software tracked down the source and talked to some people rattled by the noise.
A loud boom at about 6 last night heard around town becomes today's talk of the town.
What was that? Then we all went looking for flames or something, just something to show outside, but there was nothing.
And we heard this boom and I looked at my wife and said, was that thunder? And we just kind of shrugged it off.
Tonight, a mysterious noise is plaguing a northwest Atlanta community and keeping neighbors up through the night. Channel 2's Rachel Stockman is live on DuPont Commons Circle, where she tried to get to the bottom of what neighbors are hearing all night.
Since we've been out here since about 3 this afternoon, we've heard this sound about 5 or 6 different times. It's pretty loud in person. Our mic, unfortunately, doesn't pick it up that well. It sounds a bit like a tornado siren. Neighbors in 3 developments along Marietta Road in northwest Atlanta say they've heard the mysterious noise since it started about 6 weeks ago.
It could go off at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and you hear it and you just don't know what it could be.
We're hearing sirens maybe 10 times a day some days, late at night, all hours.
Well, tonight it rattled homes and even the nerves of a lot of people living up north in Lafayette.
But the questions about a late-night explosion linger after it occurred.
Buzz today at Lafayette Brewing Company and all around this city is about what happened in Lafayette yesterday.
It was very weird, very weird.
Around 11 Sunday night.
It was more of a solid thud. It wasn't so, it was more of a boom, and then it just, nothing happened.
An explosion, or something like it.
It was a sudden, wow, it's there, it's loud, and then it's over. Almost as quickly as it started, it was done.
The calls came pouring in to 911.
Yes, it is very weird.
But officers who searched citywide couldn't find anything. No car accidents, no fires. So what was the source of the sound that could be heard all over Lafayette? Police say there were no explosions last night. They checked with Duke Energy, with factories in the area and the airports, and nothing. So what was it?
الله أكبر الله أكبر حصان يطير حصان يطير الله أكبر الله أكبر حصان يطير حصان يطير لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر حصان يطير يا ناس سبحان الله الله أكبر.
An image that can be seen with a close eye or a close eye. It's a plume of smoke from a fire where a man was saved just a few days ago. Look carefully at the upper left part of your screen. And do you see a face in the smoke? Many argue it is a clear image of the face of Jesus.
In Fresno, Connie Tran, KC24, local news that matters. Screams there's someone still in the burning building. A familiar image to many seems to pop up. What do you see there?
Oh, it's Jesus up in there.
It's Jesus.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you can see it.
I was coming from McDonald's and I seen all this smoke, and you see Jesus in the smoke and then the person gets saved. That's right there. It's not a coincidence.
You hear about this kind of stuff all the time.
Indeed you do. People seeing images of Jesus or the Virgin Mary, and it's happened again.
Just across the mile-long bridge to the east on the south side of Polk City, at the busy intersection of 3rd Street and Bridge Road, a mystery grows on the trunk of a tree.
I've been past here 100 times and I've never even noticed that.
But many people have noticed it, and to them the image is quite clear. What do you see in that tree?
The Virgin Mary.
For the longest time, I couldn't decide if it looked like Mother Mary or Jesus.
Truth be told, it looks to me like the Mother Mary holding the baby Jesus.
I guess now that you look at it, it's kind of amazing now.
Quite a surprise for a man sitting down to dinner with his wife in the Poconos.
He was about to take a bite of chicken when he noticed an image on that chicken breast. The man says he's not overly religious, but what he saw last night he considers a sign.
I'm about to kind of fork into my chicken, and lo and behold, I mean, there's a picture of what looked to be like Jesus to me, and it really kind of took me aback. I showed my wife, and we all laughed about it and said, wow, this is amazing. It's so clear, it's so concise there. If I could convey a message to people, I guess it would be, pay attention. There are signs everywhere.
Well, now we have basically the shaking. God says, yet once more am I going to shake the heavens and the earth. And the shaking is going on in all realms. Even in the scripture, there's a scripture that says, shake yourselves. In other words, wake up. We're going to see class warfare. We're going to see the earthquakes, the volcanoes, the hurricanes, tsunamis, droughts, fires. It's going to come at us fast and furious. We're going to see judgment in all realms.
third phase of moon here, Blake Cousins, going over the phenomenon known as Haarp. We have a round table going on right now, new photos just in, along with the best videos that have been coming into third phase of moon for the past year of unusual cloud formations, portals, amazing eyewitness testimony. We're going to get to the bottom of what Haarp is all about, or maybe new questions. We're going to bring in analyst Orlando Smith right now. He's never seen these photos or videos before. We want to get his opinion right away of what he thinks this is.
It just looks like classic geoengineering to me. Obviously, man-made structures in those cloud formations. Probably the dispersion of chemicals, rendering a temperature changing Haarp-induced situation. Right there is what my guess would be. I don't know, you know? Or maybe it's just some really incredible spiral clouds.
You know, asking the big question, a regular spiral cloud, I've seen a lot of these right here in the state of Hawaii. Brent has as well. He's joining us on the round table. It's an incredible sunset, spectacular phenomenon shared right here at Third Phase of Moon. Your opinion? Blake, I gotta admit, this is basically 100% the best Haarp video that's coming in to our documentary that you're gonna see right here. We got 4 awesome videos, and we got a professor, a friend of ours. He knows what he's talking about geospace, Haarp, and all this great stuff. And what we're looking at here is just fantastic. It's beautiful, and I do think that it's extraterrestrial. What do you think, Blake? When this video first came in, we put it out, and it pretty much went viral, this video. Obviously, why not? It's some of the best unusual cloud formations that I've ever seen. Do you see any jets or an airliner leaving a chemtrail like this behind? Is this a chemtrail? We're going to be slowing things down, getting a closer look on this video. That's what it's all about right here at Third Phase of Moon. The geospatial analysts have more thoughts on this video.
This is either the best Photoshop I've ever seen in my life, or it's a super chemtrail, man-made dispersion of some kind of chemical. But it's so huge. It's huge. It's so much bigger than the chemtrails that I've seen. And the shape, the circular shape is just, it's so magnificent. You know, I can't imagine that it formed from some cloud formation or some you know, the structure of the winds in the sky. It just doesn't look like it formed from that. It looks like some type of, there's different materials up there.
Now we're on to this next video that was posted just last month right here at Third Phase of Moon, and people were saying this is another like Photoshop or special effect. In my opinion, this is the real deal. The links are below, by the way, to the original videos from the people that shot them. That's the main thing right here at Third Phase of Moon. We're sharing the links to the source. In my opinion, this is some kind of portal. Opened up. The sky is opened up, and there's just some kind of plasma jet stream that's being a plasma residue. Not exactly sure exactly what's going on, but the people on the ground were stunned by this amazing footage we're looking at right here at Third Phase of Moon. Brent, take a look at this close-up. What's this all about? All I gotta say is hats off to the photographer. He really kept his hands still, and he's capturing, and then he's actually capturing a decent enough time to actually see this formation transform in front of ourselves and in front of the public right here.
This scares me, man. I don't know. It's either extreme CGI or it's a terrifying Haarp-induced heating of the atmosphere. I mean, it looks like flames.
Let me tell you though, I have to say that There's all kinds of anomalies going on with this video right here. And to say it's CGI is just ridiculous. I have to say, give me an honest opinion. I'm sitting right next to you watching this video. I'm telling you, this is not CGI. This is an actual phenomenon. Look at the cloud formations around it. Could this be maybe just a real weather phenomenon that has nothing to do with extraterrestrial?
I just wondered, how did it have that square edge? I don't understand that square edge.
Fair enough question. Now we're going off to this other phenomenon that came into third phase of moon, and it was attributed to a rocket. Still, when the governments tell you that, hey, this is a rocket, malfunctioned, or some kind of trail behind it throughout the United States or over any part of the world for that fact, you might not want to believe them. What is this residue? That's the big question with this video. Brent, what's your issue on this one? This happened at Edwards Air Force Base, and everybody knows that those guys over there, they're not going to give us the truth. They're doing their own exercises, their own plans. If they said it's a military rocket, well, I think what we're seeing right here would be something that they would say as well. Whatever these colors are released in the atmosphere, it's unusual, it's strange, it's green. Wow, green, people. Your thoughts?
It almost looks like a layer of excited electrons, like the way particles can become energized when they're under some the effects of something like heat or magnetism or something like that. It looked like an energized trail of energized particles. That's all I could think of.
People out there, I know you've been doing your homework right here at Third Phase Moon. If you have any idea what's going on in this photograph, leave your comments below. We'd sure like to hear it. Brent, it's been 10, 20 years, maybe even longer, since chemtrails, chemicals in the sky, strange formations, Blake. What we're looking at is green, brown trails, something not normal. Who would want to wake up to this? I have coffee every morning and I see something like this. It's upsetting. And I'm sure it's upsetting to the world, America especially. They're getting stripped. The question still lingers. What is going on over the skies over planet Earth in regards to the chemtrails? The colors, as Brent said, seems very suspicious. Everybody, have your cameras rolling. I think things are going down. It's about time people wake up. Submit your footage to Third Phase of Moon. Let us know. We're standing by. Blake Cousins. We'll see you again next time.
The sky.
Blake Cousins here. Strange phenomenon in the sky over Stockton, California. 2015 Safon submitted incredible footage of what eyewitnesses from the general area report a large UFO event that lasted for over 5 minutes.
The blue thing, right there.
People were stunned as the crack shot up in the sky and left a plasma wake in the clouds.
No, check out the thing in the sky. Look. It's weird. It's some kind of... That is beautiful. Check that out, you guys.
But actually, she look red.
Now it's turning red.
Yeah. I think it's some kind of like a plasma thing.
I don't fucking know. Oh shit, and look at the clouds. It's
No, over here, the other one we saw.
Oh, what the fuck?
It was weird.
Look.
Like that's a sign of something.
Oh shit, and look to the right a little bit. There's a blue one developing. See it?
That's a sign of something.
Oh, that is crazy.
What was that?